the point of the presentation, legally wise, is, it could happen to anyone. Exemptions from enforcement of judgments. Okay, so most people think, hey, man, every house practically in town is worth $1 million. I just get one commission, and I'm set for a couple months already. So things are good now. But 7 years ago, things weren't so good, and things go up and down. So I just want to give you some tips, so that you don't just get focused on that here and now. But if you have a longer term perspective of things going up and down, and in February, I live in the neighborhood, and I was driving around trying to pick up my kids, and there was like really bad traffic. Worse than usual on Valley. And I turned on the radio, and they said there's a fire on Walnut Grove, and then there's like maybe a pipe bomb. I don't know if you guys are stuck in traffic that day. Can you go to the next slide? Okay, there you go. Okay, so just so happens, there was a fire and a pipe bomb, and it's a condo, and then one unit, there was a fire and explosion, and then it blew out, the fire spread to the units to the left and to the right. And so they did some investigation. Oops. And it was they call it cannabis lab or honey oil. So a lot of people know about meth labs. It's far out in the desert because it smells a lot. But with the growing demand for cannabis and TCH, they have a new method of production. So they use they put the cannabis, the marijuana, into a solution, and they cook it, and then they get the crystallized, and it's called honey oil. So it's concentrated. So what happened? It doesn't have the problem of the smell, but it has a problem of exploding. So now, instead of this problem of explosions and fires far away, it's in our own neighborhood. This is on Walnut Grove. Okay. So I hear a few weeks later of the widow who owned that apartment, and she said, I was married, and we had our little condo, and after the years go by, we paid it off, and so hey, how about moving into a house? So they got the house, and then they say, hey, why don't we just use the old condo as a rental property? And her husband dies, so she's on her own, and then so she rents it out to this person, and he just paid the rent, not with a but anyway, it turns out everything was quiet and fine until the night of the explosion. And then the police don't tell her anything, but later she finds out, he confesses that he didn't really live there. What he did was he gave the keys to a friend, okay? And that friend was a drug dealer, and that drug was making honey oil in her apartment, in her condo, and it caused this fire, okay? And so she goes, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do now? Because in a condo, you only have a little insurance. They have the homeowner's insurance from the homeowners association, but for the individual unit you own within the walls, she didn't have any insurance, or she had like a minimal, like a $30,000 policy at the most. But the damage for her unit and the units next door was about $300,000. So she goes, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I don't have insurance, and they're going to come after me, and and then so some of the ideas, okay, was one thing is that you could watch the criminal case. Luckily, the tenant confessed, and then so he would take the criminal liability. And along with that, they have some restitution for victims because they could have criminal restitution for the victim, but probably in most cases, those people don't have much money. That's why, they have to be involved in drug dealing. And so there's probably, although that's one thing to think about, you can follow the criminal case, but probably won't happen. You probably won't get much out of it. Okay, then the second thing was, she's elderly, so it's not like a young person that's going to be buying another house later or getting car loans. She could maybe file bankruptcy. Talking about the United States of America and the rights and freedoms we have. One option is bankruptcy. You can have a new, fresh start. It's in the Constitution. See, I wore the right tie today, my American flag tie. God bless America. that people, it's legal to not pay your debts under certain circumstances. Okay, and another thing people could have done to protect themselves ahead of time is, I'm sure a lot of you have rental properties, possibly, or you deal with people that do, is that instead of owning the property in your own name, you can own it in LLC, okay, or a limited liability company, okay, and so the thing about it is that when, let's say, something happens, they don't sue you as an individual. They have to sue the corporation. Then you can bankrupt the corporation, or if, let's say, you can have you have insurance then, and if the insurance company collects or pays out on the claim, then there's they have a ratio. Just like if you have a car accident, and then the insurance company pays, and you're a bad driver. But if it's owned in a corporation, an LLC, if there's a claim collected, you can transfer the property to a new corporation, and then you can say, hey, it's a new owner. You can get the regular lower insurance rates again, right? Instead of paying the higher insurance because you're a high risk, bad risk. Okay, and so that accident or the drug-related investigation, it was in the newspaper. So there was an article about it and had some facts on it. And that's about the information about hash oil and the manufacturing of it. Okay. Okay. And yeah, honey oil. Okay, honey oil. Okay, and so another thing that a person could do to protect themselves is, besides their regular car insurance and their homeowner's insurance, you can get a general umbrella policy. Okay, and sometimes people put their assets in a trust to avoid tax liability. So these kind of things just raise the issue. So you could probably talk to your accountant or an attorney who specializes in debtor-creditor issues, or an insurance agent about those things. But when it comes down to the bottom line is that there's not enough money to pay for the problem, and somebody sues someone. Okay, what do you do then? So what happened is that this happens. This happens to more people than you might think. Actually, about 100,000 people a year in LA County file for bankruptcy. So it could be, could have happened to some people here, somebody you know, but it happens. And what happens is, through this process, it's so common that there's a judicial counsel form, like a standard form that the court publishes, on this judicial council form, and they list out exemptions from enforcement of judgment. Okay, so I just wanted to let people know about that, because a lot of times not even attorneys know about it. You know, you just think about the times are going good, but what about getting ready? Just protecting yourself in advance if something might go wrong. So if, this list, you can get the slides from the Association of Realtors. They have this if you want to get a printout. But there's this judicial council form has 2 pages, and pretty much your whole life you spend working, but when it comes down to it and there's a lawsuit, they have this form. It's 2 pages, and it lists out all the types of activities or assets that a person could have. So there you have it, your whole life of work distilled down to 2 pages. So you can have your pages. You can have a copy of it. And so, for example, the things you could put your money in to protect yourself from creditor liability is a 401k, for example, or an IRA. So you might have heard of O.J. Simpson, and he was found not guilty in the criminal case, but he was found guilty or liable in the civil case. So he had a big judgment against him, but still, even though he wasn't working, he could still play golf often before he was incarcerated in Nevada for trying to get his trophy back. But while he was on the golf courses looking for the real killer, he was still enjoying himself, and because he had about a few $1 million in his pension, and those were exempt, so the Goldman family couldn't get it from him. Okay, so on that list, you'll see there's a 401k, and there's 401ks, and there's IRAs, and there's pensions. Another asset that's in the list of exempt is a life insurance trust. Okay, and so okay. You could get a copy of it, but I'll just say some of the highlights. Disability insurance benefits, your dwelling house, house furnishings, insurance, jewelry, pension funds, private and public. Life insurance benefits, but you've heard of cash value. There's an exemption of $10,000 of cash value that's exempt, but you can borrow out of your cash value of your life insurance policy. So that's how some people avoid that liability. And cars and Social Security benefits. Okay. So in summary of this portion, I would say that you should think about it before it happens, because it could happen to anybody. You could get in a car accident. This didn't. Things are happening. Greece could fail to pay and get out of the economic union. Economic collapse. Things go up and down. So even though things are fine now, you might want to think of putting your eggs in different baskets, and then you should think about taking care of your assets before you get ill or before you die. You have a trust or will. You could debt is a shield against creditors, and so I would say that debt problems, they're just a symptom of underlying problems. There's all kinds of underlying problems like gambling, women, drugs, drinking, all the vices known to men. But the lawyers can take care of the debt, but you also have to think of your own life. Are things right in your life with other underlying problems? And it's as we said, America has a right to. You have a right in the Constitution to have a bankruptcy and to get a fresh start. But